So one of the things that
They're not here. What's that for? Bring that later. You don't even have to do the rest of it to say.
Oh, I don't know.
You want to tell them the little or what? Okay, thanks. Yeah. Just find it out there.
Who's on the case where I was sick? That's. Stay home.
Yeah, so.
Just pretty new. He's not coming.
You're probably going first.
So he's the only one? Okay.
He's still not there.
What's that?
He's still not there.
Oh, he went to get his phone to see the grandchildren, or didn't he?
Get those in.
He's still there, okay.
Get those in under,
Yeah.
16.
It is, it really. Yeah.
Okay, look. That's it. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'll call the Financial Services meeting to order this evening. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I would like to wish our Deputy Warden happy birthday. So, happy birthday. Happy birthday, And I would also like to congratulate Councillor Elliott on her campaign. Congratulations. All right, so I'll call the meeting to order. The first thing we have on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Moved by Peter, seconded by Larry. We have an addition that we'll put under 5B, the Sutherland's River and District Community Association Municipal Service Grant. Warden Parker.
And as in the number 6, affordable housing, the move to next month because we didn't have a meeting that we were supposed to have last week.
Okay.
Which was what we're going to report on here tonight.
So move to September's agenda.
Yes.
Any other additions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary-minded nay. Motion carried. Next, we have the approval of minutes from July 19th and 21st, 2021. Moved by Councilor Butler. Seconded by Warden Parker. Any omissions or corrections? Councilor One.
Thank you. Just under the municipal service grant that you discussed, or did one of my opinion that I had concerns with the bar clerks, one was looking for municipal service grant, and I just like with that, like we have that noted in the minutes, because.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. I think that's from the few people earlier than the
Okay. comments? Okay. Okay, any other areas or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. Next, we have reports. We have reports for recreation on the page. It's the new, Great, since I'm not brilliant, any comments, questions on the report?
We just have to say, like, so eventually, and Cindy and Claire and everyone else is talking about those. People can just say, the grades and,
I would agree. I've heard lots of positive things about that as well. About people being able to more equipment and even, there's been some that have donated equipment as well. So it's wonderful for the continue from Hughes. Any other comments concerning the recreation report? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. Motion carried. 4B, we have a communications report. By Peter. Second by Mr. Thompson. Any comments on the communication report? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. Motion carried. Okay, first thing, next we have the accounts paid for the month of July. Right, Councilor Weaver, do you have something? Seconded by Councilor Thompson. Is there any questions concerning any of the checks, any of the accounts paid for the month of July 2021? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary, nay. Motion carries. Okay, next we have our District 4 Municipal Service Agreement with River John Legion in the amount of $800 for maintenance expenses at the Memorial Gardens. Okay, moved by Councilor Elliott. Seconded by Deputy Warden Murray. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion by the name. Motion carries. 5B, which is the addition to the agenda of the River and District Community Association. A little background on that. So last year we gave the River and District Community Association a council grant in the amount of $4,737 to complete accessibility upgrades, which was red and yellow community water. The money should have been spent by January 31st, and we have been waiting on a report from them. We've received confirmation that due to COVID, that they haven't yet, not yet been able to complete the work, but they expect to have everything completed by the 31st of January in 2022. I guess what we're looking for tonight is a motion to extend that until January 31st, 2022. And they understand that if the work is not completed by that date, that the money does need to be returned. Okay? Okay, moved by Councilor Butler. Seconded by Warden Parker. Any questions or comments? All right, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay. Motion carried. Okay, so we'll skip number 6 until next month. Okay, so number 7, potential amendment of municipal service grant policy. And that was put on the agenda by Councilor Plummer. So I'll pass that over to you, Councilor Plummer.
This is something I brought up before, and I think we're seeing the effects of it more so this year than we had in the past, but it did affect us in the past too. So what I'm proposing is that we change our municipal service grant policy so that we can spend the current fiscal year's allotment for municipal service grants prior to the approval of the budget. And if we're going to change the amount, I think the amount right now is $200,000 and the $50,000 reversal. That how it goes, Brian?
Correct.
And if we're going to change that amount in future years, then it would have to be made prior to the budget of, prior to that fiscal year that you changes. So I don't know about you guys, but I've got a lot of calls wondering when they're going to receive the missile service grants. Here it is, mid-August. Summer is almost over. Time to get their money is September, mid-September, May. And they get a very short window to spend that money. A lot of people need that money for startup costs and everything like that. And without that money, they're finding it very tough. So I'm going to make a motion to change our municipal service grant policy like that. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, we'll open the floor up. Any discussion, questions? Comments? Board Member.
Since I was busy, thinking of something else, can you review just what the change is, down the line?
Well, right now, we cannot spend any ministers, unless we have ministers money, carry over from last year. Very few districts, there's a few districts that have them. But I know in my area, once I have rate and that money's already gone, so it's gone from year to year. And there's no real savings there because of the number of organizations that it's looking for funding. So what this will do is come April 1st, you have your ratepayers meeting, submitted that financial services gets approved. And at May, paid out. So if I, that's not, no, because if we're going to change the amount to the budget, we have to change it for that fiscal year or the next fiscal year. I mean, so if you want to up it to $300,000, then you make the motion. Say this fiscal year, but it wouldn't take effect to the following fiscal.
Madam Chair, the major change here then is that you wouldn't have to wait for this budget to go through the review by August, you'd be able to get your money. If not, you got it through and approved, at finance committee of the council, then, come April 1st. you get the money.
Yes.
It'd still be the same process. as
Same process, just that we can spend money prior to the approval of that.
Brian?
We talked about this following the last meeting and some of the mechanics around it. And what we would suggest is you don't necessarily need to amend your policy, but rather on April 1st or your April council meeting, you make a motion to transfer $250,000 from the operating reserve in to the budget or into the out of reserve into general operations. And then when you pass your budget, you're expensing that $250,000 through your municipal services grant fund back to the reserve. And that way the money is there in April. And when you pass your budget, you then pay it back. And if you increase your budget, you only pay back the $250,000.
So it's like borrowing from the bank.
Yeah, you borrow from yourself and repay it when the reserve funds allow for it.
Well, I don't carry along whatever's the easiest way for administration to do it, but I'd like to see this for the community groups that really need this money. Whatever way works, it's fine with me.
Okay,
We just thought that way it keeps it clean, it's all within one fiscal year, and the same point in and out. It's a lot easier on the accounting side than
Yeah, no, that's,
type thing. So that's just a practical solution that we would offer forward.
okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Deputy Warden Murray?
Madam Chair, thank you. So does that mean that we vote moving forward off the floor then? That recommendation?
I'll change my motion to that recommendation.
Okay, second agreeing with that? Okay, perfect. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Okay, next we have the New Scotland Business Park area rate. Right?
So the New Scotland Business Park, area rate is just put on this agenda. There's some flag it that we do need to approve that, and it is basically the New Scotland Business Park rate will be $290, minus the, whatever the tax rates are set at. So the maximum that it would not be to exceed $2.90. So it's a residential rate plus $1.09, I guess it is. And right now, those rates remain the same, and an 82 plus $1.08.
You said residential, commercial.
But, well, the mixed development that is being built in the park will have a residential assessment with it. So it's going to be both, I think, so. So this, I believe that's the rate.
Okay.
I see.
Any, okay, go ahead, Roger.
Just, you said 290 would be the rate, and it's residential rate, 81 cents.
Yeah, so it's, right now, it was based on 290, based on the 182.
Oh, it is based on commercial.
Yeah, so it would be $1.08 added to the residential rate.
$1.89.
Yes.
Or if it's per hour. If one of those units is started out as fair commercial, then it becomes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we just put it on here to flag it, but when we, do our area rate resolution, so we get a resolution for that as well.
So do we need a motion for that? Or just,
Not at this
just a
point,
flag,
no.
just the information? Okay. Any other questions or comments before moving on? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to number 9, community announcements. Community announcements this evening? Okay, we'll move on to number 10, referrals to committee, council, and notice of motion. Okay, Councilor Thompson?
I mean, maybe somebody can answer the question here. We got an email regarding some sites and tags. And I'm just wondering, what was the process for selecting those locations? Has the municipality entered any negotiations with the landowners? Is there any agreements pending approval of the process that the process of the power protocol? How's that going to unfold?
Yeah. So the sites are all basically selected on the technical side to make the network work. So landowners have been contacted, so there's nothing, I guess, finalized as far as purchase and sales agreements, because some of the sites that are selected maybe as we come along may become redundant type thing, because there are other co-location opportunities that are being explored. So if we do the co-location side of it, it may make some of them redundant, and then you don't have to go through a public consultation process, because that's how it's already been vetted. So and part of the reason for the ads and things in the paper is the antenna siting protocols that are being followed. So that's part of the public consultation that we have to do.
Well, I guess I don't need to belabor this, but have the landowners been notified of these before they're put in paper?
So the letters went out to anybody that is within 120 meters off the tower.
But the landowners were in agreement that the tower would be set up.
Some of these are roadside, so they're not, while they may be pinpointed to a particular property, they're actually within the TIR right away.
The one that I'm concerned with, and I got a phone call on it last night, and I think it needs to be dealt with. Madam Chair, is the one on the River Road. It's going right in front, it's a 9-foot tower, it's going right in front of the McGregor dairy farm in Garner. And they were approached 2 months ago and asked if they would want, putting that on the property. But whoever was talking to them said they needed 5 acres. And McGregor's said they didn't want it. And it showed up in the newspaper last week, and they're puzzled as to why it's still a tower site. Because it's gonna ruin, it's, if anybody, go up the river road and take a look, beautiful spot. And the location of this tower is gonna obstruct view, and it's gonna take away precious farmland from this very vibrant dairy farm. And they did not want to see a tower put there. They actually gave gentlemen some other places where it could put some other landowners in the area and they're interested. But it concerns me that they said no, but we still plowing ahead with this. And it's in a horrible location. I can see why drivers don't want it. That's where it's being cited. It's like putting the CN tower next to your house. It's a bad location, and if that's the process we're using, we're not respecting the wishes of the landowners, then I don't know, this isn't good. I think it needs to be reviewed.
Yeah, so that individual he phoned yesterday, and I did speak to them, and basically the process is for them to put their concerns in writing, so that is documented. So on that particular one, basically gone back to kind of the project team to say, okay, what's going on here? There seems to be a little bit of a disconnect. It is a roadside tower now, so it was changed from it's a monopole thing, but so the process is it has to be documented in writing because all of this is cataloged, submitted to Industry Canada. We have to address every concern. One of the concerns was around frequencies and disruption to their cattle farm operations because of they have an automated system there and things like that. So those have been put in writing to us. So the team will review it and determine whether or not that site is viable because I agree, we don't want to harm anything that's already existing. So, so that was set up for review.
Thank you.
Okay, Warden Parker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would certainly know that dairy farm well, I would certainly agree that it, shouldn't be anywhere where it's gonna harm them, and whether it's the looks of the place or whether the functionality of the future development or whatever. So we have to work with the neighbors and the people that live in our rural areas now to try and find the best proper siting. And I think sometimes people working from a distance aren't seeing and knowing what we know, and so that's part of this process. I think is to bring it up and let people have their voice. I also want to mention at the same time, and our CAO was aware of this one, but on top of Green Hill, there was a tower built there within the last month, I think, by Bell, right next door to where our plan was to build ours. And so, there's now a feeling that, we're going to be towered out here. Why do we need another tower? If Bell already put a tower there And the plan that I had heard before is that we would co-locate on Bell's Tower rather than build another tower there, but I don't know if the people that, if they're concerned about this, whether they're within that, certainly they're at the base of Green Hill there, but whether they're within that, 400 meters, did you say, right?
120.
120 meters, 500 feet roughly. So again, I think CEO can look into that and see what, sometimes again, in the distance, people communication that should take place. I think that that was not supposed to be what was going to happen. They were going to obviously not waste taxpayer money by building two towers next door to each other. You co-locate on the tower that was there, but because the other one was brought up, I just want to make sure it was on record that there is some concern about the one on the top.
Okay, thank you very much, Morgan Parker. Council One?
Thank you. Just to Councilman Thompson's point, how many concerns have to be raised to award a change in the tower? Is it all the property? Like, would you need a number of concerns, or is it just one concern, or how would that actually work?
Good question. I'm not sure there's a right answer to that. I think you have to look at the context of what it is. I mean, some of the towers are, you know, we've had comments both ways. We've actually had comments, why are you not putting a tower in this community? And we've had some saying, like, there's too many towers there. So we would look at it from a technical standpoint, or they would reevaluate on a technical standpoint, and if the tower can be moved without compromising the network, then they would look for alternatives. So in the case of the Green Hill one, the site is there. One of the things we're doing is, because this process can basically be 120 days, which is 4 months, we've identified sites that we may walk away from. But if we didn't put them in the process, we would delay our project. So everything's kind of there. We'll give comments. We are negotiating a co-location agreement on the Green Hill area, but that's not concluded yet. So, and at the end of the day, the owner of the other tower could say no, right? And so then we would be potentially have a gap in the network. So that's why we kind of identified them. I think it depends on the type of concern as well. If it's just, I don't want it, that in some cases, the towers are necessary. So I think you just have to wait. Right? If there's a lot of opposition to it for whatever reason, then we would certainly look at, is there another alternative to doing that? But at the end of the day, we go through the process, we try to address the concerns, and Industry Canada ultimately would say yay or nay that we're allowed to put it there. But generally, we're trying to get as much compliance or goodwill with it, type thing. So
Who would make that final decision?
I think there would be, at the end of the day, there'd be a technical report that would come back to council to say, like, we're getting this opposition. Really, here's the impact of it on your overall network, right? Some towers will just leave, if we abandon them, just leave gaps in some areas, and areas wouldn't be serviced. That's on the wireless side. So that's the other side of it, right? Where we said we're trying to give 100% coverage, but it might just leave gaps in it. There'd be a technical report that kind of goes through and says, okay, these are the issues, and we co-locate it someplace else.
Council Boyles?
I just had a question on, how much land do they need for these towers?
There's different type power, so in some cases it's would be, an acre. Other ones, it's basically a footprint, because they're freestanding, they're engineered monopole type thing, so it's basically whatever the width of the base is. So it varies.
Councilor Johnston?
It's on the bell tower, green tower. That's a new tower, is it?
It is a new tower.
They go through the internet code, the tower code, site control code that we have in place.
Interesting, we do not have a record of that. So that was something we flagged as part of this, is that really, there's a tower there that has not been, vetted at this point, right?
Okay, any other referrals to committee? Councilor, notice of motion. Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment. Moved by Deputy Warden Murray. Seconded by Mary. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary nay, motion carried.
Let's call the Property Service Committee meeting to order. Before we get started, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on the Mi'kmaq ancestral and unceded territory of Mi'kmaq people. Okay, before we have the approval of the agenda, we have two additions, 16B and 16C. 16B is fire inspection, and 16C is the list one warrant. The motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved, Peter.
By Councilor Bullock,
Second, Councilor.
by Councilor Kern. All those in this favor, in favor, signify by saying aye. Count on the name. Motion carried. Next is approval of the minutes of July and June 2021.
I second.
Move second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count on the name. Motion carried. 14A, reports. Building inspector.
So moved, Peter.
Moved by Councilor Bowles. Second by Councilor Elliott. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count on nay. Motion carried. Next is the bylaw dog control report. Moved by Councilor One. Second by Deputy Warden Murray. Councilor One.
And I see the Logan's not here tonight, I'm just wondering if there's been any update to your 16 Birch Lane. We're waiting for a plan to get back in August 6th.
I do not have, an update on that, but I can follow up with, Logan on that. Was that one that was awaiting?
I think that was the one, we're supposed to come back with a plan, but there's some health issues or something.
Okay, I'll follow up with Logan on that, for you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count on nay. Motion carried. Next is the warden's report. By Councilor Dorr. By Councilor Thompson. Questions on the warden's report? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count on nay. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the Nova Scotia Transportation and Active Transit Cost Share Agreement 2020-016. That's what they want us to do, is submit our list for next fiscal year, Ryan.
Correct.
Paying Jake Box Road.
So we had submitted last year, the new road as our, candidate, and it was not approved for this fiscal year.
Do we have a list of roads that councillors would like to be possibly submitted? Or do we just nominate them every year? Kind of thing, or is there a list that we've used in the past to kind of, for nomination?
There is, we had that,
Did that last time.
yeah, we did it during COVID, and, this was the road that had made the, priority. Let's see if we,
Chair, would it be possible to have that list circulated to remind us what roads are nominated for that list? And so we can have some idea maybe what our potential last year, I think look like for J class roads.
That's no problem, this certainly they're right, but I guess the thing for us is to decide is how much we're willing to spend, is there the only one on this list? How much money would you want to spend for the J class roads for one, or 23, so. They want it back by as soon as possible, right?
there is a deadline, it needs to be submitted by October 29th.
You can circulate that list, we can submit it by October 29th.
Yeah, we can resubmit the list. There are a number, the roads, there's a number of them that are paved, and then there are a number that are, I guess, unpaved as well, so.
Or environment.
It's not mostly you can do pave or repave roads, it's still down at the bottom in yellow, where it says gravel, and steel chip. David. Some of these, they could be submitted to, I know a lot of roads in my area that try to put gravel on the roads, so is that an option, or is it just paving and repave?
It's paving, repaving, or double chip.
You have gravel above, I see. Along with the chips, paving.
For the last 10 years, I've been seeing gravel.
No, I didn't mean paved, but I meant we just put gravel on it, a lot of them just want gravel on the road.
Yeah, I don't think this falls under that.
I wondered because the yellow at the bottom seems to violate all three. It says upgrading options, I guess, oh, maybe that's the current road status. Maybe that's the
Yeah, it would be
current road
current,
status.
moving it to one of the others.
So that, therefore, they must, Jerry just said that, you know, he hadn't seen either by, then repave any, or pave any gravel roads, but they do talk there about gravel. The current state being gravel, whether they're gonna upgrade it to pavement or upgrade it to double chip seal, has there been any change in that? I'm not sure.
No, that's always been the way. If it's a gravel road, you can move it to one of the other.
You can request the gravel road to be paved.
Yeah.
Because I agree with the chair that I haven't seen any done in a long time.
But I don't know if there's no big class road that's gravel.
We have,
Maybe all the ones that I'm getting complaints from are.
we have 25 that are classed as unpaved.
Unpaved. They're considered unpaved with the rack material and they're on.
But it could be, yeah. And some of them are, we have to remember J class is not only J class, it's basically roads that the province took over, so it is J class roads, but it could also be K. It's the 3-house listing rule roads that they took over, so basically those could be driveways that had 3 homes on them prior to 1992 that the province took over. So there's a number of classes that are in this. And I think it was probably within the last, well, since I've been here, council had basically kind of made the decision that they really weren't going to add or repave, or pave dirt roads, that we would focus mainly on roads that have been paved and repaving. That's kind of been the way we looked at the policy over the last decade, I would say.
And also the government has the final say in it, and they don't meet criteria like the, like the loud road, was it, you said that twice? The loud one?
There is one in Councillor Boyle's area.
Yeah,
Just trying to see what it is on the road. They basically came back and said, stop submitting it. We're never paving it.
there's certain criteria that it has to meet, but
For the,
it's
for
been
that.
that big, they'll come back and say, no. Yes.
What road that is. But there is one, I know there was one that they basically, we had submitted it, year after year, and, they basically did come back and say, stop submitting it, it doesn't meet our construction standard. So, and I think it is in terms of oil, I may be wrong on that. Oh, yeah, Loudon Road, Lions, yeah.
Okay, so, Councilor Fuller.
Just so I'm familiar with J-class roads, there are roads, are there? There are roads that belong to municipality or
They're owned by the provinces.
they're owned by the province?
So we, during, I think, switched to 95, right?
Yeah, so in 1995, as part of service exchange, when service exchange took place, one of the principles of service exchange was certain things responsibilities came to the municipalities, others went to the province. And I guess the first guiding principle was that it had to be revenue neutral, revenue expenditure neutral. So when they did the exchange of all the things like social services went to the province from municipalities, recreation came back, they eliminated recreation grants and things like that. There was a shortfall in the equation. The province was taking on more responsibility. So J-class roads, they came up with this J-class road and they transferred them to the municipality. Municipality had the option to assume ownership of them or just pay the province a fee for maintenance back then. And that's what this municipality decided, was that they didn't want to own them because they're spread out all over the county, and then you get into all kinds of other maintenance issues. So they are vested with the province. We pay an annual maintenance fee, which includes upgrades, seasonal upgrades, and winter maintenance. But at the end of the day, the province determines the level of maintenance and the level of service that the roads get. And we just pay a fee.
What is the K road then? You said K. What?
Yeah, it could be K. There's different classes of roads. So, like J-class roads were typically things in like communities like River John. Some of the side streets in River John would be J-class subdivision roads where subdivisions built. And then there's like village streets, free house listing policy. So the province before 92, if there were 3 homes built off of a driveway, the province would assume ownership of them. Type thing. And then they stopped that, I think at 92. They stopped that prior to service exchange. So there's a bunch of different roads out there. So
Why is it that I told that if it's got the green sign, that's a bridge or it's not a government road. And if it's got the white sign, that's just a driveway or whatever, a road. But if it's got the blue one, the J-class. No.
J-class are the same as any other street agreement.
What's the blue one then?
There's only,
I understand.
And somebody like, it's a private drive.
The white is private drive.
Well, somebody must be up with blue signs with private drive. I don't know.
Because we give out the whiteness for private drive, you know, with the name.
I heard it well.
Yeah.
I heard it well. Yeah, white and black, for drivers.
For daylight?
No, for.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
Private
Buildings in
The ones that we sign, it's a white, whatever you call it, white blade with black letter.
Yeah.
Drivers.
Because the question Kevin wanted, in it, we joking, he said the green is government, and white is private, but he says the blue would gain us.
No. And all provincial highways, so these are provincial highways. They're just, we pay a maintenance fee yearly, and they're green signs, right? So
Well, where's the blue ones come from? Did any know for these blue signs before?
I never ever seen blue ones. So there's none in my area. And I have a lot of J-Cloud roads. I have a number of J-Cloud roads. Where's the blue signs that you're talking about?
I've seen many blue signs out there, like, you know, all over the counties, but they're not. Well, maybe the Monera, but.
I never ever seen blue signs.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything further? If not, Brian, you want to send that out for our next meeting, and we can forward that list in by October 29th. Did you do that?
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I didn't know, dude. I was just waiting for a response.
okay, third.
Okay,
Sending it right now.
send it now.
Yeah.
So you can review it, we'll have it at our next meeting. Okay, next 16A, Coastal Protection Act. This was sent over in a package just to say that, once this comes into effect, that there'll be new requirements for construction of houses and other structures with the zone, so. I think we get an email on this too, that there's going to be a Microsoft Teams meeting, does it, Brian, something like that?
Yeah, there's a number of sessions that you can register for, I think one. This,
I think it's September 8th, isn't it?
yeah, I think they start this week. But some of them are in September. That email that came out, that was actually, I think, to you was the updated ones, which are in the first week of September. I had received one for an August date, but because initially when it came out, it was limited to 3 people from your municipality. And they were basically giving you something like 3 weeks or something to actually respond, I think. So NSFM had written to the minister as well as AMA, and they came back and said they would extend the deadline till the end of September. So the workshops are an opportunity for you to submit comments as well and answer the questions. And if there's any other particular comments anybody wants submitted, they can send it to me and we can submit them under the municipal link.
Okay. How do you want?
People are really rolling it out to the public office, just for officials.
The letter we received was for municipalities. And I think that's probably where they may be starting with us, right? Because it impacts through your land use strategies and things like that. But I'm pretty sure the letter was just for us. I don't think it indicated there was public at the workshops, but
It's going to be important to get that information out to the, especially in the districts along the coast.
Councilor McKee.
Sorry. Thank you. I was on the same kind of track as Council One. When are we, when we find out when we're able to kind of release this to the public? Because there's lots of good questions and then we want to hear from you section and lots of things to consider. And I think it would be great to share on our social media. So, you know, this could be something that a lot of people would be interested in. I know in our district, we had a group a couple years ago, pre-COVID, that was showing different ways to help with coastline erosion. So I wish I get to be aware of it. They were doing kind of come to the property and kind of see what they were doing. But I think this is a very important discussion to be having, and this will obviously impact our building inspector, Will Brian, our building inspector bylaws.
It'll have impact on development for sure. As we get into our minimum planning standards and things of that nature, all of this has to kind of dovetail together. We will I will get Sue-Ann to maybe post this tomorrow, like whatever the memo. They're basically saying spread the word to whoever.
I think it would make a great, I think it would make a great interaction and for to let our residents know about this. I think there would be a lot of interest and I think we need to share this with our residents and so they understand what's coming down from the provincial government. Thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none. By the way, if you want to go on one of those, you have to pre-register, so the nurse can show you pre-register, but I think there's a certain date there. You have to register on an email and send it to us. Okay, next, 16B is fire inspection. What?
Just on fire inspection, we were informed this week that our contracted fire inspector is no longer going to provide us service. So we're in the process of finalizing our job descriptions and things of that nature, because the plan is to move that in-house. But in the interim, we will have a in service. So Logan reached out to the towns, there's a couple of towns here in Baker County that have contracted service from the gentleman that provides seats, Manny Withrow. So we would like to recommend to council that we would appoint Manny Withrow on a temporary basis while we're filling our position. That being subject to received kind of the contract documents and stuff today, which I forwarded to the solicitor for review, but don't know that over next couple of days, but see that again appointed. That is one of the requirements under the act. Your inspector does need to be appointed. So
you need a motion.
But it would be a recommendation that council pending contract review.
So you want to make that motion? Councilor Williams? Second by Deputy Ward. Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry, there we go.
Just, where's this river from, or is this all here?
Colchester, so, basically what he's indicated to us, from a costing perspective, it's an hourly rate plus mileage, but, he basically indicated to, Logan and I that, he would minimize travel, and that he would basically, be just doing it all as kind of one, if he had to go over for a town inspection or something, he tries to kind of coordinate stuff to reduce costs, so, that's basically, he's from the Colchester area.
Okay. Anything else?
Former building inspector and fire inspector in Colchester retired. This is background, so.
Seeing none? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count by nay. Motion carried. 16T, Lisbon Award. Councilor Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to give you an update on the topic that I brought to you earlier, a month or two ago. I've been in touch with the Harbor Authority members at the Lisbon Wharf, and they were very concerned about the development which is taking place adjacent to their property. It's a trailer park on an acre and a quarter. And the area is being developed in such a way that there's quite a slope, so that water runs down the slope. And a culvert has been put in, and a small drain which runs parallel to the trap houses where they store their traps and whatnot. When we had a few rainstorms in July, the water came gushing down and into the buildings. It flooded the first trap house. They have been trying to resolve the situation, and as they speak to Logan, he tells them that there really is nothing that he can do because we don't have any land use planning acts. The Department of Transportation is saying that as long as we can put the culvert in properly and meet their standards, that's where their involvement is. We could be corrected on this. The drain that was probably required to be put in, it runs parallel to the houses, and certainly if there's any amount of rain and freezing that takes place, just right here that all this water should go right to the trap house. So not only will it destroy the traps, but as well the building will suffer. They feel a lot of frustration in talking with Greg Chisholm and with Logan, and thinking that neither one is giving them much satisfaction, neither one is feels that they can do much. And so I suggested to them they would contact the municipal councillor. So I am bringing this before you. I'm not sure what resolution we can come forward with. I can tell you that there's a growing level of frustration on the part of the Harbor Authority, and this situation could escalate. And as well, I'm sharing their frustration in that they don't seem to be getting any answers down.
Councilor Dorn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I always understood, unless you were in a serviced area, you needed 2.2 acres. That's what I tell people in my area, or they're allowed to do anything. So what's the story on that? Is that not right?
For a septic deal?
Yeah. Could it have been?
I mean, if they have something you can engineer now, you can engineer stuff on much smaller parcels of land, so, but it would require, I believe.
In the past, it was 2.2 and that was it.
Yeah, and that's typical, I think, that if it's like a waiver or whatever it is.
Because there were other people who had a lot less and we couldn't do nothing for them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how this has happened. It's 1.2, 1.25 acres, that's half of what our amount is. So can't see how they can't just say that's unacceptable.
I believe he has an engineered septic system. And I think that has to be approved by the environment, right?
Yeah,
So that's, the environment's involved there too, so. So that is, I suggest this. I wonder who will ask more Warden to put that ditch in, because if the ditch is inadequate, if he dug the ditch deeper, it might be able to control the water going on to the other property also. You know who requested the ditch?
I don't know, I do, again, say in general terms, or the landowner has a tendency to assume various things and just to go ahead and do things. So we may or may not have gotten, proper advice as to how deep the and the location of off-lead trails. I guess it just comes back to the point that they feel very frustrated and the county this is just free range of this study. And there are no rules or regulations, or very few rules or regulations that he has to adhere to.
Council Warden, let you go then.
I don't have any easy answers either, but that is why we're going to be discussing minimal plan, I guess, is to, try and protect people in those type of situations. Right now, we have nothing, and that's what this county has wanted for a long time, and there are a lot of people, that living home, where I'm at, but when you run into these type of circumstances, we don't have the same tools to deal with that they do with one of the towns, because they have a lot more detailed planning, but it seems to me if we're at a position, where the two parties that are disagreeing, is there any willingness to come together? And, I don't know if the county will play any role in that, but I mean, at some point, it's a matter of trying to get the bodies together and say, look, you're damaging my property, the suggestion that the chair had, maybe you could want to take the ditch deeper, but whatever it takes. You would think you'd want to be good neighbors with whoever you're going to be right next to, but if that's the case, you don't want to be good neighbors, then it gets harder to deal with because there may be a simple solution here, but I think we're past the point of good neighbors, so you, Mr. Chair, Don, is that the case?
Yes, the first incident that happened this spring is he put the block of the road to our local beach because it was covered with going over about 10 feet of his property. So that was such an indication of his willingness to work with the community. And so then this latest issue was just another example of the way that he's dealing with the locals.
That makes it more difficult, but usually communication, the best way is is that a local person developing that, or it's not? I don't have any quick answers for sure, but I think we need to, whatever we can do through Mr. McDowell and whatnot, but he's got his hands perfectly tied because we don't have any planning.
And that's what that's too. We dealt with these kind of situations because over the course of the years that I've been here, a number of people put certain things like a solvent right in the middle of the village, or they put a pig farm beside a residential, and there's no bylaw no planning that can stop that. And that's what we're in that situation also. It's a hard thing to give any advice on when we don't have the planning or have any authority to do anything about it. But like the court said, it's the best thing to do is try to talk to both parties and come up with a simple solution, because I think this guy invested a few dollars here so far. I know he's not going to give up, so it's better if they work together to try to come up with a solution. So water's not going on that other guy's property, and I'm not sure what environments should be there, because if he opened up parcel of land and more water's going to change the direction of the water, it could be environmental. I'm not sure, but if two parties could work together come up with this solution, because I don't think he's gonna go anywhere in either position. Anybody else? And that's why we're doing this municipal minimum planning process. It's going to us do, and when's that going to start running? Is that going to come up shortly, or? I know that it wouldn't help this situation, but in the future it might help some situation.
Yeah, at this point, the Director of Public Works is developing the RFP. The consulting expertise on that, so we anticipate having that out hopefully in the next month.
And I know it doesn't help us in the council, but we are looking into coming up with some sort of plan.
If we, through their CAO, could Mr. Dow play any sort of mediator role here at all, or is that not his case? Maybe we could just to try and suggest solutions for the two sides, but, you know, that's based on whether the two sides you want to sit down together. That if we can't do anything with the medical plan, it could be too late. Is there any way we could provide any sort of service as a mediator to try and bring the two sides together, if they're willing?
Well, yeah, Councilor Butler
Same with the noise complaint.
could maybe facilitate something. That might be a solution, but there would have to be a willingness on the parties.
Yeah.
One, do it.
That's one.
I think personally, there's putting Mr. Down and Melissa, that means that would open up any planning of a dispute planning. But I don't think that would care to raise their expectations that we're going to step in, and that's going a clear decision by this council all along is that no planning, no development, no planning development. So I really would be uncomfortable getting our staff involved in disputes such as this. I just don't think it's good.
Okay, move on. Next, emergency resolution. Is there any emergency resolution? Seeing none. Is there any referrals to council committees and on this motion? Councilor Wallace.
Yeah, I said this to other meetings, earlier my habit just doesn't work out. I don't know what's going on, whether they go to win stuff and so I think we should be looking, we're big enough council and we're getting into the internet process. I think we should have our own, we should have our own program. We shouldn't be going through another town to have our, to have this done. I mean, our stuff that we have on our tablet is open to them. They can turn around and win and look at our stuff, and there's no reason to stop them. So I think we should be looking at getting our own. I like to put it on the further agenda that you know, we look into and see what it would take to turn around and have their own tech support, their own people here and have our own network things.
I think it's an ethics thing. The IT person is not allowed to disclose any information that takes off. I think that'd be an ethics thing. But I also believe that we did this 2 or 3 years ago. We're not looking at the cost of our own, as our own IT department. I think it came back that it was going cost over well than the price of what we got in the process. But we could put it on a future agenda and see where she goes. Okay, anybody else? Seeing none, ask for motion to go into closed session. Move second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Count 9 today.